This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Friday morning means a visit from John DaSilva, racingwithbruno.com, capitalotb.com. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How's everything?
Very good. A little snowy here this morning, but the temperatures have moderated a little bit, although, again, tonight we're supposed to get down to that refrigerator-type temperature, but then next week maybe. We're hoping, because we're getting past that halfway point in January. It's got to be time for things to turn around. I have my fingers crossed, so, but we'll look vicariously at Gulfstream Park for this afternoon and live that way, because it's certainly going to be warmer down there. Why don't we take a look and kick right off today, and then we'll also take a look at some of those Sunshine Million stakes for tomorrow. But the opener today at Gulfstream, 6,250 conditional claimer, non-winners at 3. They're going to go a mile. How'd you see the opener?
Well, Jamie Ness is a guy who has always been a prolific winner, but he hasn't run too many horses at Gulfstream. But he did go and claim Good News with a twist, in this last start. He is based in Tampa Bay, so he had the horse go back to Tampa, but because of restrictions, he can only run at Gulfstream Park right now, so which is why he's here. But for Ness to make a move like that, I think he's about ready to make a run. He wants to run well. He's got Luis Saez, who's had a terrific meet so far, so having the call. And I think Good News with a twist, drawing the rail, has the right running style, stretching out back to a route, is the horse you want to be using here.
Interesting. Yeah, as you say, Jamie Ness, certainly we know for years and years he's been very prolific over at Tampa Bay. As you say, over at the major venue, not as good, but this is one of those interesting little story horses. Comes back at the same level of the claim, ran well in the claim, and you would have to think Ness stands a chance of moving this one up as well. All right, let's move on.
And I have a stat for you real quick before we get on to the next race.
Go for it.
We've had 187 races run for winners at Gulfstream Park at the meet so far. Out of those 187 races for winners, 33 have been run for 62.5.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's got to be their bottom, right?
Yeah, that is their bottom. 6,250 is their bottom. So to have 33 out of 187 for winners at that level, that's really a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, Florida racing has certainly changed a little bit, but yeah, that's interesting because you think of this now, we're in the meat of what is their championship meet. And on the high end, I mean, we saw the return of Lee last week. Let me ask you about that as well. What did you think of Lee last weekend?
Oh, that was a terrific race. I was scared that Lee might have needed the race, but that horse was as game as they could come. Beat my choice, unfortunately, but what can you do? This is the comeback that you wanted, and I cannot wait for what could be the greatest day of racing before the Breeders' Cup, where you have the Don Handicap and the San Antonio on the same day.
Yeah, we got to keep our fingers crossed with that San Antonio and Byron gets over the quarter crack, because, as you say, that's shaping up to be nice, as is the Don. And Lee, we talked about it on Sunday when Steve Bick and I were in here. Only a short field, but just goes to show you can get in a lot of trouble in a short field. He was behind a wall of horses, and it seemed like about mid-stretch, something's going to open up there. No, he has to go out, and it really wasn't until like mid-stretch that he found some running room. So I agree with you. I thought that was a pretty good comeback effort.
Sign of a champion. You don't need help. If you're in trouble, you go out there and get the job done. Where you got the favorite for the horse of the year, who has not been able to overcome trouble. While a horse like Lee, even off the layoff, overcomes trouble and wins. To me, that's the mark of a true champion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a look out at the second race today at Gulfstream. Conditional claimer, 20 tags, non-winners at 3 lifetime. They're on the turf going 5. Your thoughts?
I'm going to the rail with Creative License. This is a horse who basically ran meeting race and going a mile for 12.5 at Calder/Gulfstream West, but was claimed by Kirk Zadie. Gets Edgar Zayas, who's back from his suspension and is still in the top 5 in the standings at Gulfstream. And I think this is a horse cutting back to the 5 furlong distance, having the positive change to Zadie, get the job done.
All right, let's move out to race number 9 this afternoon. The 9th optional claimer at the $100,000 level. They are scheduled to go 1 1/16 on the turf. Your thoughts on race 9?
An angle that a lot of people like to do is good karma. And with that good karma is jockeys making the first start coming back from an injury. And here we have Rajiv Barad coming back on Sky Blazer. You know, he's been working hard. It's, you know, unfortunate what happened to him in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He's ready to roll. He's been working horses. This is a horse who ran second as a favorite last time out at Aqueduct. You know, Barkley is going to get this horse ready to go, and for good karma for Rajiv, we want to see him do well, so we're going with him here.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I'm glad you gave people a reminder just to take a look at this 9th and Sky Blazer and take a look at the return of Rajiv Marab, because good guy. You know, I've had him on with me sitting up live in Saratoga. Nice guy, a lot of talent. And I would expect, according to one of the articles I read, he's been working horses in the morning the past couple of weeks, and you would expect he'll probably ease into this, you know, only the one ride. But then it seems like when these guys come off injuries like this, A, you're in a little bit of a tough colony, so you got to ingratiate yourself to some of the owners again. But B, I think you just want to slowly work into it. So it'll probably be, you know, a week or a couple of weeks before we see him with a full slate.
And it's also good because he has his family down there who trains and races horses. So for his first race back to be for someone like Barkley Tag instead of family, which means he feels good, he feels confident, he's ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be good to have him back on track because, again, that was a tough situation, Jockey Club Gold Cup. All right, let's shift our attention to Saturday and take a look at some of the Sunshine Millions Stakes races. I said at the top of the show, been tweaked up a little bit. It used to be that face-off between Calbreds and Florida Breds with alternating races, Santa Anita and Gulfstream. That situation is no more. It's all at Gulfstream, and Calbreds out, but Maryland bred, Pennsylvania bred, New York breds in. So there are some fun races here, and I think there are some intriguing races. The Sunshine Millions Sprint, race 5 on Saturday. You got $100,000 up. Happy My Way, clearly, you go down the past performances and you look at that string of triple digits. This is a horse that has plenty of talent, some back talent, and I think that's the way people may go just looking at that. The Fosberg was a little bit of a head scratcher. The second place finish in the DeFrancis Memorial was, it was okay. Buyer-wise, it was not as good as this horse can run, but it was behind Zebros. Maybe we'll get a barometer on that race with Zebros this afternoon, although on the stretch out, maybe not quite the same. Yogi Berra, to me, is interesting in that they seem ambitious here with the lightly raced horse. I think Yogi Berra will probably have to step it up a little bit with only the 2 career starts, but I think there's some potential there. But what did you think in the sprint?
This is a very intriguing race because I looked at that DeFrancis, the Happy My Way ran. I was shocked that he ran second because this is a horse who normally has to be on or very close to the lead, and he was running 4th early. So for him to come back to be second, I'm just wondering, was he that good or was it the field wasn't that good? I'm willing to go against him at 6-5 today. I think the connections know that he's not the same horse he used to be. To me, the intriguing horse is number 6, Petruski. This is a horse who's been racing up in Canada, running on the poly track. His early career, he was running on the dirt, but ever since he shipped down from Canada, look at those workouts. He's been working tremendously. This might be a horse who might be ready to show what he can do on the regular dirt. And at 20-1, and with Hernandez riding, he's definitely worth taking a shot with.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out those works because there aren't any bullets, but that last one at 46-2, it was second best. So if people aren't attracted, you know, sometimes if the bullet's not there, you don't go down and take a look. That's a pretty darn good workout. And as you say, Hernandez on board. Let me ask your opinion because I know you're a guy who watches jockeys a lot. He's been that fun story where Wesley Ward took a look over at Fairmount, saw this guy, called up Ken Ramsey, and Ramsey said, yeah, we'll give him a shot. And so he went over to Churchill and did okay, and now he's doing okay down at Gulfstream.
Let's give Wesley Ward credit. He's a guy that's willing to help jockeys. Normally he'll go and help the apprentice jockeys and build up their careers. Dylan Davis is a perfect example of that. But here's a guy in Hernandez who, like I said, we found at Fairmount Park. The last time we talked about Fairmount Park is when you had that jockey fixed race where they tried giving Cowboy that victory, which didn't work out too well, and everybody used to think how bad things were then. And thankfully, Hernandez wasn't involved in that. But this guy has the talent. He knows how to grind the bowling. He knows the importance of saving ground. He knows the importance of reining. It's an unusual way to go about it, but I think Wesley Ward has a home run here.
Yeah, and he's doing very well down in a tough jockey colony, Gulfstream, in the winter as well. All right, the 6th tomorrow at Gulfstream, Sunshine Millions Turf. They're going to go a mile and a 16th for $100,000. Yesterday, we took a look at Bad Debt, and I think that's probably the direction that is most intriguing to me. But since we looked at that one yesterday, I'm going to pull up the November 10th race at Aqueduct for Iron Power. This is a pretty good win on the front end with a pretty solid buyer figure. Iron Power in this replay is going to be the number 1 horse under Jose Ortiz. Ortiz will be back on board tomorrow. Again, a nice front end win, a 102 buyer figure, and this cannot be the right race because this is not on turf. But take my word for it, Iron Power did run very well with a 102 buyer figure on November 10th. So give me your thoughts in the Sunshine Millions Turf.
I think this is the potential for chaos here because Iron Power was tremendous that day, but he did on the front end. We also have Reporting Star, who has good early speed. We have Decisive Moment, who has good early speed. Brightening Flyer could have early speed. So this could definitely set things up for a closer, which means you're going to be dealing with traffic. You have to get the right trip. Yes, Bad Bet is a horse you have to take advantage of. If he gets the trip, he's your winner. But if he doesn't get the trip, you could be seeing some bombs here. I mean, you take a horse like Hobbs. If he doesn't run today, he could be a possibility. I would think a horse like Best Plan Yet could be a possibility. I could see a horse like even Manchurian High, even though he's a little bit below price. He won the Laurel Turf Cup 2 back. Could be a possibility. I mean, with all the speed in there, unless there's some scratches, I'm definitely going to be taking some off-the-pace horses here.
Yeah, and while we talked, they did rack up the correct race, so folks got a chance to see Iron Power. It's going to be a fun race. And I think there are a few races in here that are like that where it's hard to hang your hat really on somebody. There are horses you can make cases for and cases against, and I think that's true in the Sunshine Millions Distaff, which will be the 8th tomorrow. 7 furlongs for $150,000. Yesterday we took a look at Dame Dorothy. She's cross-entered, comes out of the 3rd place in the Comely. Prior to that, it won the Turn Back the Alarm. That was the 4th in a 4-race win streak for this horse. So the 3rd place in the Comely last time was the first non-win for Dame Dorothy. Bobby Flay, Todd Pletcher horse. I think that horse is logical, but you have Toasting in here from West Point Thoroughbreds. I think Michelle Nevin and Tappett's World stands certainly a very good chance. Again, this to me is a little bit of a puzzle because I can make cases for and against a few in here, but what did you think in the distaff?
Dame Dorothy, I think, will be running in this spot. She will be the favorite. I'm willing to take a shot against her. I have to use her. But I think there's a couple of other horses we can definitely go with. Marty Wolfson, always dangerous. My Pal Chrissy, this is a horse who was second in the Inside Information 2 starts back. I think at this distance, she could be interesting. Question is, she hasn't run since April. Will she be fit enough to go? This is the type of race where you want to find out because I think it could set up well for her. But also Marty Wolfson, he's got a 20-to-1 shot here. We probably have to use a little bit, and that's Dreamlicious. I mean, if you look at this horse, ever since he claimed this horse in February, on dirt, the horse has not finished worse than second. Now, granted, you're stepping up in class here, but Marty Wolfson is as sharp as they can get. And if he thinks this horse has a shot, and you got Luis Saez riding, you have to consider her as well.
Yeah, that's a good call because that is one where you do have to look a little closer at the past performances because you have a 12th on the turf and a 4th on the turf, but you draw a line through those, and you're right. This is a horse that on the dirt, it's hard. You're hard pressed to go down and find one out of the exacta in the past 8, 9 starts. So Dreamlicious again, as you say, probably have to step it up. But when you're talking to Marty Wolfson, that's a possibility. So Dreamlicious, I like that. Nice call there. We'll take a look out at the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mayor Turf, mile and 16th on the grass for $100,000. And again, another race where I think, yeah, I'm not quite sure what direction to go. Effie Trinket attracted my attention just off the name, but when you really look, obviously this is a horse that was better earlier in the career, struggled and couldn't find the winner's circle in all of 2014. And then you just look around, and I mean, you know, you have a horse like Speed Seeker coming out of a win over at Tampa. There's one you have to look at. A decent number for Pink Poppy in the Tropical Park Oaks, and, you know, only less than 3 lengths, but beaten and ran 7th in that race last time. Had a win just before that, an optional claimer. So it's another one of those races where there's some cases for and against in here. What did you think in the Philly and Mayer turf?
I like Effie Trinket.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect situation for Rick Violet. I mean, when they opened things up, he was able to find a spot for her because she's a multiple stakes winning state-bred mare. It was very difficult to find a race for her. And I think she's got the right running style, and even though she hasn't been winning, it's not a lack of trying, because what could be the 3 back that probably Eclipse would win the day at Spa? Well, last time out, she got beat by another millionaire, Discreet Mark. This is probably class relief for her. So I think Effie Trinket could be a very dangerous foe here. I think Maker shipping an awesome rider Flower from Kentucky for this spot is very intriguing. Yes, it's Ken Rance, and he'll ship anywhere to run a race, to run a horse. But I think Awesome Flower, you have to give a little bit of respect to. Rock On Baby, coming from far back, probably needed the race to still ran well to be second in the Claiming Crown Tiara. You got Zayas aboard again. That one could be dangerous. And of course, Dad Brown on the grass. You can't ignore that either.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be a fun race as well. Again, as I say, they tweaked it up a little bit. I think these are going to be fun betting events, because I don't know whether anybody is absolutely jumping off the page at you. And it's a similar situation in the Sunshine Millions Classic. Although with the short field, I don't know whether you're going to get a lot of value here, because I think there are 3 horses that will take a lot of attention. And to me, it comes down to those 3. $250,000 on the line. They're going to go 1 mile and an 1/8. And yesterday we looked at the Millions Classic preview, which was held on November 8th. East Hall won that. Wildcat Red ran second. Obviously, they're going to attract some attention. But while we talk here, I did want to pull up September 18th, allowance optional claimer at Belmont. Transparent gets it done for McLaughlin and Godolphin. And this is a horse that just, you never know. But when this horse has its day, can fire a big shot with a big number attached to it. Came back from this race and was a poor 8th in the Cigar Mile. So again, this is a horse that you just don't know. But when this horse feels it coming onto the backstretch, can fire a very big shot. So I think you're going to have to throw this one kind of into your mix as well, at least for consideration. What were your thoughts in the Classic?
You definitely had to throw him into the mix. I mean, he lost all chance at the start of the Cigar Mile and couldn't recover from that, because when you go to that type of quality, you can't make a mistake. Look at that start 2 back, tremendous. If this horse is mentally ready, I think the workouts say he's physically ready. He's the horse to beat. Because I look at Wildcat Red, to me he was a tired horse at the end. I was shocked that he ran in the Millions Classic preview. I thought he needed a break. And to me, there's no excuse for him losing that race that day. He had everything going his way. He was in the right part of the racetrack. He was supposed to win, and he got run down by East Hall. So to me, he may not be the same. I think he needs a break right now. I'll use him. He definitely will not be a key. But if Wildcat Red gets a little pressure from I'm stepping it up and from Sir Keith Galleno, who is making the first start off the Walls at Lane, I would not be afraid to throw in Catholic Cowboy.
Yeah.
He's a horse who won the Claiming Crown Jewel, has been working terrific since then. He's 2 for 2 at the distance. He's got Paco Lopez, and if speed does tire, which I know Wildcat Red will tire, and maybe a couple of others, this is a horse who can pick up the pieces at a price.
And had Ron Nicoletti on yesterday, and he said the same thing and noted that distance. This horse is 2 for 2 at the distance. He's the only multiple winner at this trip. And he thought the Catholic Cowboy could be interesting as well. So, again, it's a fun day tomorrow with the Sunshine Million Stakes at Gulfstream. And, John, before we let you go, I don't know if you've had a chance. I'll throw a curveball at you, though, but have you taken a look at the Lecomte? Do you have any thoughts there?
I did look at the Lecomte. It's a tremendous race for 2 reasons. You have to look at the points. I think after what happened the past 2 years, trainers realize they need to get points as early as possible, and they also need to maintain. And you look at a horse like Eagle, for example. This is a horse that's always been highly regarded, and I think they realize they need to get points now. The only problem is that outside post position makes it difficult. Then you take a horse like International Star, who I would not be betting, but he already has 11 points. And this is Ken Sarah Ramsey. And you just give him enough points, even if he just finishes in the money, he just needs maybe a couple of seconds or thirds in the fourth, and he'll be into the Derby, and that could really set things up. So a horse like that, they may be realizing, okay, don't win now, just get in the money. And to me, that makes it very intriguing in terms of what you're going to do here. But one that really intrigues me is Top Pleasure, because when he ships the horse out there, and you look at the connections of the horse, he's adding Lasix for the first time. And Savoy Stomp, adding Lasix, he comes from one of these ownerships, Team Valor, who is anti-Lasix for 2-year-olds. Well, he's a 3-year-old now. He gets the Lasix. So Team Valor, Southern Equine, and then you get Mike Smith to fly in to ride this horse. This could be an intriguing horse to look at here, and I'll be very curious to see what Fletcher does, because the other thing Fletcher realizes, he has to start splitting up his horses now. And he's going to run his best 2/3-year-olds at Gulfstream Park. So a horse who needs points, like Savoy Stomp, send him to the fairgrounds, let him get points now, let him show me if he's good enough or not. And I like this move for Todd, and to me, this is the horse you definitely want to be considering.
Yeah, I said essentially the same thing yesterday. I look at the race, and Tis Now RJ is the one that I find very intriguing for Steve Asmussen. But I said, it seems to happen every year. Pletcher, somewhere early on the Derby trail, once or twice, pulls a little bit of a surprise. Even though it's a Pletcher horse from good connections, they'll sneak away at a little bit of a price. And yeah, you're right. You look at this one off of the last effort, the third place finish. You would think this horse will be a little bit of value in here, a Pletcher runner shipping in. And yeah, I was also attracted by who's riding? Mike Smith is riding. So I agree. I think this horse, particularly if it floats away at a little bit of value, Savoy Stomp could be interesting.
And look who beat him in that last race. Comes back to win the Gulfstream Park Derby. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.